Hey guys, it's Marc. Welcome back to Harpies in the Trees, where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. Vlog edition. So today I'm going to be in the cemetery. This is a little section that people tend to come and sunbathe in, but I'm going to be reading. And I got the idea to do the vlog because I had watched Cameron Chaney and also Nakia's Hideaway, and just some other people doing vlogs, and like I never do them, but I thought it might be a really fun way to just kind of invest a bunch of time in reading. So today I'm going to be reading Dark Ink and a short story collection, How to Make a Monster. I've read one story in here already, and I have been reading this one, so I'll tell you a little bit about what they're about. How to Make a Monster is a short story collection by felixdimaro, and all of the stories work around the theme of how one becomes a monster, how one human being goes in that direction, what causes them to get there. The first story that I've read is called Spray Paint. It is the shortest story in the collection, and it is about a white girl who lives in a very small town with prominently a white population, but has a black boyfriend. And she comes to her apartment and finds that somebody has vandalized her house by spray painting racial slurs all over the place in black spray paint. She's really upset, and she has her boyfriend come over, and he's obviously upset, but he kind of like gets it. He understands what's going on, but his girlfriend is kind of in denial. So this really sets him off, because his mother, who is half black and half white, is someone who was always kind of downplaying experiences that he was having that were obviously racially motivated, and he's just over that. He's over people putting their heads in the ground, So the story is about their relationship, it's about racism, and it's also about revenge. For such a short story, it does pack a big punch. So today I'm going to be reading, or finishing reading, a story called The Man in Cell Number 6. I started this yesterday, and it's pretty interesting so far. A man wakes up in a prison, doesn't know why he's there. He appears to be all alone, but what's really happening? Dark Ink is actually the second book in this series, the first one being Strange Ink, and this is about an investigator who kind of gets caught up in a lot of really weird stories, where he really has to go deep diving into them at a lot of risk to himself. But it's pretty interesting so far. The main plot of the story is that there are men who are killing themselves, but they have these like similar details and connections that are kind of coming together to show that these might not just be your regular suicides, and that actually there might be a woman who is orchestrating all of this. A dominatrix, actually. So I want to go ahead and read some more of this, and then we'll talk about it. I'm surrounded by dandelions and bees and whatever these little white flowers are, daisies, and birds, and the sunshine, so it's going to be really nice to just sit here and read for a while. So I'll come back in a little bit. Okay, so I had to move because it was really hot, and then a lot of people showed up to sunbathe and just relax. So I just finished Man in Cell 6, and wow. Felix has a really cool way of writing. A lot of unique things going on, and even though I think like the premise of the story, kind of like how it works, is not new, but his spin and take on it is really messed up and really interesting and takes you for an entire ride. It's really, really, really good, really messed up. A lot of imagery there that was just like, and the premise is just about this guy who wakes up in a cell and he doesn't know why he's there. And he is trying to figure that out, but he's also kind of reflecting on his past choices in his life, and maybe that's how he ended up in this cell. And then we get to find out why he's there. It's really cool, really, really cool. I think I'm going to actually head home because it is really hot. Like really, really hot. It's in the mid-80s today. I'm kind of boiling alive. So I'm gonna go home and read some more chapters of Dark Ink and kind of fill you in a little bit about what this is. But it's been really nice at the cemetery, besides, you know, all of the construction that's always going on. Okay, I'll see you guys at home. Now I'm back home. We made some food and ate. I was really starving. I had early cereal, so I wanted to eat something. But now we can get back into the reading. So I have my books with me. I like to keep them in a little protective pouch when I'm taking them places. So at the moment I'm at page 118. So the main character is Harry Hendrik. He's a journalist and he has been asked to investigate this case. And it's right in the beginning of the book, so it's not really a spoiler, but what happens is there is a man who has broken all the mirrors in his house and he ate every single shard of glass. And this is not the first kind of weird suicide that's happening. So he's trying to investigate and finding out what's going on with that. At first the main character really wasn't doing it for me, but he's growing on me. He is actually kind of funny. He also has like a temper he's always trying to manage, and he kind of has a knack for this investigative journalism he does because he sort of has some kind of psychic or something, some supernatural connection that sort of leads him in the right direction. So that's pretty interesting. And the person that he's trying to track down is this dominatrix, and her name is Mistress Hell with one L. And, you know, he's finding her to be very alluring. He's getting turned on a lot in this book. You know, it's sort of like a crime novel, but it has supernatural aspects to it, so it's pretty fun. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep reading this and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it. Before I get to reading, I'm gonna water my sunflowers. I actually raised these sunflowers from little seedlings, so I'm really proud of them. And they're growing so fast, and I don't think these pots are really going to be enough for them. I'm gonna have to figure something out. Okay, so I'm at page 150. I'm gonna stop here for now. But I will say that, you know, it's an interesting mystery. Like I am intrigued to see how they're gonna pull all this together and how this story is going to make sense. The one thing I will say though is like because this is a series, there's a bunch of information that they kind of share with you in the beginning that didn't really make any sense to me because I haven't read the first book. So it's a little weird. You get kind of dropped in cold with this dude, Harry Hendrik. And in the beginning, they talk about his tattoos. And I guess in the first book, Strange Ink, he was like covered in a bunch of tattoos. And these tattoos were then removed via lightning, but I think it was like some kind of supernatural lightning or something. But he only has one left, and it's like on the back of his neck. And this tattoo sort of like does things like it tends to heat up in certain situations, but it's never like I'm not really clear as to why it does that still, and I am, you know, halfway through the book, so there are definitely, I guess, like details about Harry Hendrik that I don't know if I'm gonna actually understand unless I read the first book. So, but it is an interesting mystery. I'm really, really curious how it all comes together. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some coffee and then I will be back. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch to How to Make a Monster. I'm going to read the short story Casper, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about that a little bit. But before I do that, I have a little candle here just for some mood, and I also brought an extra candle just in case, because that one's going to burn down pretty soon. So I just want to light this one up. I'm also going to put on some reading atmosphere music. When I'm reading, a lot of the times my mind will wander. I will be reading the words, but it'll be overlaid with me thinking about whatever I'm thinking of. It's pretty weird actually, so I have to go back and like reread things. But if I use an atmosphere, that helps me to stay more focused, and I can read for longer and harder. So let me show you what those are about. Like this one is really good, this 1 hour of H.P. Lovecraft music, The Great Old Ones and Other Beings. This is really cool. So that has like a lot of mood to it, but there's also some really fun ones. They're like haunted. And these are really fun because they have like this ambiance of just being in a, you know, a cold place. You can hear doors opening and closing and creaking and moaning. And when I'm reading a really awesome supernatural book, I'll put this kind of stuff on. So there is a really big favorite of mine. Yeah, I think this is it. It's this one. I listen to this one so much because it's just sort of like this ambiance of sounds. There's rain, there's horses, there's all kinds of stuff. You can sometimes hear, I think it has like some carriage sounds as well. Maybe the sound of a bell tower chiming. Yep. So if you have a hard time focusing and concentrating and getting into a book, or maybe you are into that book but you have a hard time just staying focused, reading atmospheres are really, really good for kind of putting blinders on your brain and keeping you in one place. So I'm going to be reading Casper from How to Make a Monster. Sounds like it might be a ghost story, so I think I'm going to go ahead and listen to this one while I'm reading, which is you're studying in a haunted library with ghosts. Whoa. So Casper is wow. All of these stories have been really good, really compelling, I have to say. This kind of concept of like how normal people kind of find themselves becoming monsters or doing monstrous things is a very popular theme that authors tend to experiment with and explore. But I have to say, so far in the 3 stories that I've read, they're so good. They're so different. They're obviously character studies about certain people, and the author really is in the head of these characters, and each one of these characters feels so real, so fleshed out, just so complicated and layered like human beings are. It's really good. So the story that I just finished is Casper, and it's about this kid who is never noticed by anyone. He's not noticed by his classmates, his parents. He is pretty much like a ghost. And we get to learn about Casper, who he is as this ghost, you know, what are these events that make him feel that he is a ghost. And we get to learn about his home life, and then ultimately what this sort of pushes him towards. So really, really good. And I felt really, really bad for Casper. I think out of the 3 stories that I read, I think Casper is definitely the one that I feel the most like empathy for. And I really like that, you know, all of the stories have like a little piece of artwork and also a quote, you know, before each story. It's sort of the foreshadowing or setting the mood or something. So I've read 3 out of the 8 stories, which is Spray Paint, Casper, and The Man in Cell number 6. So I'm going to continue reading this week. And I think this will be good if it all comes together. It is enjoyable to read, but I just wonder how it's all going to come together, and if the if the bad guy, like the villain, you know, is going to be a worthy villain. That's what I'm kind of worried about at the moment. Like, you know, is it really going to be somebody, is it going to make sense, you know? So we'll see. So that's the reading vlog for today. I think it was really cool. It was fun to go out and read and film, but also feeling kind of weird about filming in public. But that was really cool. It was kind of nice to like read and then talk a little bit about the book. If you do like the vlog thing, if you want me to do more vlogs, let me know down below. Tell me what you think. If you're not really into them too, let me know that as well. So I'll be finishing up these books this week, and I'll be having a review coming up for that. I'm also still working on the user submitted stories, and I'm doing the choose your own adventure stuff at the same time. So it's kind of a lot going on, but it's real cool. It's real cool. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. Please like and comment below if you like this video. Take care of yourselves, watch out for each other, and I will talk to you next time.